Howdy ho, guys and girls. This is NUB SAUCE, back again playing Transport Fever. We're about to start the mission 6 on the American campaign, and the goal, as always, is to get every single medal that is available in the campaign. So this mission 6 is called Great Depression.
They're calling it the Great Depression. The whole country is groaning under this huge economic crisis, under poverty and unemployment. The entire country? No sirree, Bob. In the Gulf region of the sunny South, black gold is bubbling incessantly out of the earth and is protecting the people from hardship. Well, at least those lucky enough to be sitting directly on top of an oil well. High time we became active in the crude oil industry ourselves. Oil is the best lubricant for our operations. It's the 30s on the Gulf of Mexico. The Great Depression still hasn't passed, and we need to prevent President Franklin D. Roosevelt from plunging our beautiful country into socialist ruin. Let's prove that private ownership of production facilities still generates the most wealth, and that a self-regulating market is still the best way to go. Let's save capitalism. Extraordinary times call for extraordinary measures. Let's expand our area of operation. Let's become part of the oil industry ourselves and invest our profits in even more oil for the good of the country. This crisis is our opportunity.
Okay, so that's the basics of this map. We have, I guess this is Texas and Mississippi. The main hub in Houston. In Houston there's an oil refinery, and there's a harbor facility here that can convert fuel into goods. So that's a primary focus. We also have one Dallas, Beaumont, Lake Charles, Jackson, and New Orleans that we can ship stuff to. And on top of that we have 9 oil wells spread across the map. So first let's take a look at the medals. First one is called Easy Pumpers, finish the mission before 1955. So we have 25 years, just under 25 years to finish the mission. Investment for the good of the economic upswing. Make sure that your wealth never exceeds 75 million. So basically, if you earn too much money, make sure you spend it on something. And that wouldn't be a problem, because all the money will keep being reinvested into expanding the network. Oil bearing. Process crude oil from all the wells located on the land. So 9 oil wells, and we need to service all of them like lightning. Ensure that the journey along the Houston-New Orleans route takes a maximum of 5 minutes. This is a medal that becomes active in a later quest in the game, where you have to make a passenger route between Houston and New Orleans. And if you use too slow a train or make it too hilly or too windy, then you won't be able to make the journey in 5 minutes. So it takes careful planning. Importer. Import at least 6,000 goods via the port in Houston, meaning this industry. And it doesn't really seem that it doesn't convert fuel into goods as such. It'll take 1,600 fuel per year if I can make that, and it will give me 400 goods per year. And 400, 6,000 divided by 400, that's 15 years. So if I can pull away goods at full speed for 15 years, then this can be achieved. So it's just a matter of getting a goods line out of the Houston harbor. And Houston itself can take about half of it, so it shouldn't be that hard to do. Well, let's start the mission.
Splendid! We've gotten our hands on a few decent plots. Not that the land is much to look at, it's what lies beneath that we're particularly interested in. We'll pump the crude oil reserves slumbering underground to the surface, process it into fuel, and transport it overseas from the port in Houston. Additionally, there's another lucrative business we can get involved in at the port. Goods from all over the world are just waiting for a forwarding agent to bring them to the people. We know all about that.
Process crude oil into fuel and to deliver it to Houston Harbor. And the mission says to export 5,000. So convert 5,000 crude oil into fuel and then move that down to the harbor. And they already put in a train station and the first bit of check, so that is where you do that. Then we got an overview of the 9 oil wells, and they say undrilled because I haven't started using them yet, and it says volume unknown because we don't currently know how much oil is in each of them.
Our business is developing splendidly. The stupid thing is that you never know in advance just how much crude oil there is in one place. You need to drill first, and that is terribly expensive. A company in Beaumont has developed a method of reliably predicting how much crude oil can be pumped from one area and whether drilling is worthwhile at all. We could purchase a license to use the said technology, but it's not exactly cheap.
Okay, invest in the purchase of the patent to find out the oil output of all wells before drilling, or run the risk. Drilling costs 3 million per drill site. And the thing is, it costs 3 million whether I do this patent or not. So buying this patent for 15 million doesn't give me anything, except it tells me which wells are the best ones. But since the metals oil burner requires me to get all of the wells anyway, then it just doesn't make sense to waste money on this. So I'll choose the risk. So now I don't know how much oil is in an oil well until I actually pay for the license to use it. And the oil wells are grouped like there's 2 in San Antonio, 2 in Dallas. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here in the middle of the map. So because they're grouped, it's not bad. If I have the track from Houston to this oil well, then it's just a little bit further to get that one. And similarly, if I go to the one south of Dallas, it's not that far to get to the west of Dallas. So it's not like I'm wasting a lot by taking any particular oil well first. What I do need to think of is to make an efficient exchange between the refinery and the harbor. And I need to think of at a later point we need to have a passenger route between Houston and New Orleans. I can also put in other passenger lines if I have money and time for it, but that's not the focus. I think the best thing would be to start with something that runs west to east. Let's look at the height map before I take a position. So we've got really flat terrain to the west of San Antonio, so that's a good place to start. North of Dallas is also okay, so that could also be a good start. Going up here and along the river is a bit more tricky. And either you need to cross the river to get to these 2, or go around. And likewise, you need to cross both the river and a hilly section to get to these last 2. So those are more expensive and should wait until we get the machine running. We also need to look a bit on where the goods should go, because Houston could not take all of it. Beaumont can't take a lot. Dallas can't take a lot. San Antonio, no. Of course, these towns will grow if I supply them with goods, but not a lot. It seems like I need to connect all goods to all, or at least most of the towns. Orleans is 160. New Orleans and Houston combined does about 400. So maybe I do a goods distribution that goes Houston, Beaumont, Lake Charles, New Orleans. That should cover the demand I need. Yeah, so I'll start out with the oil line to San Antonio and then try to expand eastward so I can get a goods distribution working towards New Orleans. So, first off,
this is where the black gold lies. Very kind of the dinosaurs that they have the good grace to die out and transform themselves into crude oil. Shall we start pumping? You better believe it. Black gold is bubbling away here already. Hopefully we'll never run out. Otherwise we'll probably have to breed new dinosaurs and then wait an eternity until they've transformed into crude oil.
yeah, I like that forced laugh at the end of it because that was really a bad joke. And he'll say the same for each of these. Okay, so the first two was... this one has 500 and this one has 1,000 crude oil. And they start out at a fine 200 per year. And what does the refinery start at? 100. So it'll take some time for the refinery to ramp up to what these wells can supply. Okay, I need to start building. I'll need to do something here to get everything connected. One train station going south. That would make sense to get all the fourth up back here and then kind of do a terminal here where I can use yeah, how to do this. I also need train tracks on the west east and south, and I'm also going to need north. And there's not a train station in the game that does all 4 directions. Alright, so this is my initial setup. I've double tracked a railroad track out to the first oil well and then a single track to the second one, so that can take oil into the refinery. That will then produce fuel that is put on the other station that can have a little shuttle service sending that down to the harbor. For now I have the truck terminal here that allows me to put trucks on and send goods into Houston, and also set it up to receive in Beaumont. I'm gonna put up this truck stop here, so the next expansion would be to send goods from this station further on to Lake Charles. if I wanted to, I could change this stop for a terminal instead of a route that could take goods into San Antonio. If I don't want to put it on trains instead. The thing is, when these oil wells dry up, I still have a track here, but I'm going to sell that train or move it to another line. So when we get to that point, it would make sense to put in a train that would send goods into San Antonio. But there's no reason to do that yet. So for now, we'll just start with shipping the goods by truck. But for now, I need to put in some lines and some vehicles. So that's the 5 lines I will start with. 1 and 2 to send crude in, 1 to send fuel to the harbor, and 2 to distribute goods. And as I don't want to run the risk with the trucks, I'll start sending fuel into the towns. I will set them to carry goods only. Let's see if I can remember that for the rest of the game. The wagons that can carry oil can go 120 kilometers an hour. So prefer to have a locomotive that's pretty close to that. The closest thing I have is the Milwaukee, but that has way too much power, it's way too expensive to run. So I think I'll do the Atlantic. Could start with a Mogul just because it's cheaper. Mogul. Can anyone tell me if it's Mogul or Mogul? I could do the Alco. It's also cheap to run. Atlantics will make me more money. It's a nice straight. Pretty long and pretty straight. So I think we'll do Atlantics. And we only need to carry about... It's 12 capacity per wagon. So we can do 3 for 36 capacity or 4 for 48. I think I'll start with 36 so they don't get too low a frequency. So 1 recruits into the east and 1 recruits into the west. I need to put on the prop. We have the Alco that's waiting for fuel. And now we can see that I have about 12 million left. So I would already have used all my money if I went for the $15 million patent. You can also see here that the oil wells have started producing, and the harbor has started producing goods, mostly for Houston. That's not a surprise. That's close and it's big. So we should probably put another couple of wagons, trucks on it. I'll set the game back to 4x speed. Because now what I need to do is expand the network and make money. Okay, I need to look at this because we have an enormous amount of goods waiting already. The refinery is almost about to upgrade, which is really nice because that should double the production at these plants. Also distribution. 3 to 1 or something. I definitely need some more trucks here. But for that to work, I need to change the existing line so I can dump off here. More sense for traffic if it dumps on the end. Like that. Should also wait for Houston. So the truck will come from Houston with goods, so dump off some of it here and then dump off the rest here. And how much is dumped off in either place depends on demand from the towns. Just to make sure we get the basic demand up, I'll set up the first one here. This is the first truck ship. We'll make the harbor realize that Lake Charles will also want goods. Okay, an oil train costs about 3.5 million, and it costs 3 million to purchase the rights for an oil well, which means I can set up one additional oil road for now, until I make a bit more money. So I think I will do that. Might as well take the far one to make a bit more money.
This is black gold is bubbling away here already. Hopefully we'll never run out. Otherwise we'll probably have to breed new dinosaurs and then wait an eternity until they've transformed into crude oil.
But of course I could take out a loan, come to think of it.
The money is slipping through our fingers, people. We'll soon be bankrupt. But if we're prepared to grovel on our hands and knees, our financiers will grant us a bridge loan.
16 million, that's nice. Which means I can do another. Then set up that second Dallas line as well. So I'll brand new oil trains. Okay. If you're new to Transport Fever, you might ask why I'm not just extending the line that goes to Beaumont. So pick up goods in Houston, drive to Beaumont, drop some off, drive further to Lake Charles and dump off the rest. But that means that the trucks would have to carry a half load half the way, which makes less money. And it would tip the scales onto where it might not make a profit, but would be a loss instead. So it makes more sense to drive a full load to Beaumont, divide it onto a second line, and then let the second line do the second part of the route with fewer trucks, but full trucks. There's also a huge amount of traffic because it's 1930 and everybody's got cars and they don't have any passenger services. So it makes sense to set up an internal bus route for Houston and then intercity bus route between Houston and Beaumont. It doesn't seem Beaumont has so much traffic going to Lake Charles, and doesn't seem like there's so much traffic to San Antonio. Just first off, just setting up some preventative bus routes. So now I have two bus routes inside Houston. One is taking passengers from the rich part of town into the commercial industrial district, and the other is taking the poor part of town into the commercial industrial. So they should be able to alleviate some of the traffic problem inside of Houston. Hopefully that should take the pressure off the traffic so my trucks can deliver more quickly. We have 60 fuel waiting. So it makes it to upgrade the fuel shuttle. I keep doing the small cheap locomotive because it's such a short route. Was it fuel? I'll check the color here. 4 of them, that's 48. 5 of them, that's 60 straight up. Please. Do a bridge over the river here. I'm guessing it will be really expensive. $7, $8, 10 or 12 if I want to double track it. So it would be cheaper to go around, but also highly inefficient. Because if I'm taking oil from this oil well on the far side of the water all around here before taking it down here, the train is doing almost twice the length without being paid for doing twice the length. So the way to alleviate that would be to put in an intermediate stop up here. So oil from Lake Charles oil well would only be shipped to Dallas oil well, and then another train would take it from Dallas oil well down to Houston. That way we wouldn't lose that much money. So track up to...
This is where the black gold lies. Very kind of the dinosaurs that they have the good grace to die out and transform themselves into crude oil. Shall we start pumping? You better believe it.
Yeah. So take a train up to Beaumont. Continue to Dallas, free. And then the secondary route to Lake Charles. And I'm thinking maybe even, because there's this not insignificant hill in between here, that it might make sense to actually use trucks to ship the oil over here, then by train up there, then by train to Houston. I'll think about that later. For now, I'll just start building up here.
The neighboring state, Louisiana, is suffering particularly badly from the weakened economy. The city of New Orleans is struggling to ensure supplies for its residents. The governor of Louisiana, a certain Huey Kingfish Long, is therefore asking us for help. The man's political ideas may be disastrous, but he's making us an interesting offer. If we guarantee security of supply in New Orleans, he'll grant us the exclusive rights to the offshore oil rig off the coast of Louisiana. That might be worth it.
Yeah, I don't know enough about American history to know who Huey Kingfish Long is, but he sounds like a bad guy. But anyway, he wants us to deliver goods into New Orleans. The request is complete by delivering 40. That shouldn't be so hard. We just start shipping to Lake Charles, or just make another extension from Lake Charles to New Orleans. But before I do that, I'll just finish building this track because I was in the middle of something. Okay, so another good question for me could be, if I'm only using 2 trains here, why am I bothered? Why do we bother double train it? It's an extra cost. Yes, I could do it with a single track and then maybe have 1 or 2 passing junctions, but I just don't want the trains to ever stop. And this way they can run almost unhindered all the time. I don't have to worry about it. So it's not that expensive to put in the second track when you first put in the first one. So this is just an easy way of making everything run smooth. I can see now that we're over 100 production, so I could upgrade both of these trains. All of the 4 trains actually. So I might as well do that while I'm at it. Now I have a train that's actually capable of doing the 120 that the wagons do, but I think it's still overkill. Almost 1.3 million a year just to run that little bit faster. Another million a year? No, that'll never work out. So should I go for 6 cars now? Yes. And I might as well put in the first one here. It was already built the track. Should take the siding here, so that's track 3. Okay, coach line. For starters, it will get a single truck, so it picks up the demand. Like that. And I can go back and see. That's a fine amount. That's a fine amount. Never get too much of them mixed in. Sell a single truck. Okay. Running again. None of the wells have run dry yet, but 2 of them are pretty close. When an oil well runs dry, it changes from 200 production to 20 production, so it still produces oil afterwards, but it's just so little that it doesn't matter. Woohoo. The refinery is now up to 500 production, and my shuttle service is lacking in efficiency. What's its frequency? It's doing 4 trips a year, so it should be able to pick up about 120. So we'll double the number of wagons. So San Antonio Oil Well 2 is empty. It's this one, but it still has some oil on the station, so I won't bother with it right now. Small train to do this bit, and a bigger train to do this bit, and a bigger train to do this bit. Or 2 trains. It's probably better on this stretch. So maybe I should just put a few more wagons in this
Good
one.
gracious, we're spending money like there's no tomorrow. Just this once, our financial backers are willing to turn a blind eye and help us out once again. But this is definitely the last time.
Yada yada. I can use more money. That little loan could help with this one. This one. Take one more load, so I need to keep an eye on that. Dallas Oil Well 2 is also gone. This one, the train could also do a couple of loads before it's done. And the bus route seems to be popular. 26 people wanting to go to Houston, and here we have 21 people that want to go to Beaumont. How does the traffic look? Crowded, but not terrible. So there's about 60 waiting here. Just ask it to run with whatever's here, because then I can close the line down when it has delivered that part. Then it would make sense if I use that train to strengthen this part of the line instead. Or even Dallas South. That's soon empty. So boom, it'll go on Beaumont line. This is the second one I need to keep an eye on, because Dallas West has run dry. Yes, these outlier oil wells have also started producing. That's nice. I'm just connecting by road the last two oil wells.
We've saved the starving swamp of the Mississippi Delta from the worst, and the governor's keeping his promise. We've been given permission to exploit the offshore oil rig.
Yeah, why do these always pop up while I'm explaining something? But yes, now we got access to the offshore oil rig, which is this odd sort of harbor in the middle of the Mexican Gulf, which will produce oil. Doesn't say how much, but it'll produce oil for use ships. So I'll say that in a moment, but I want to finish this first. So road. Okay, so I just drilled the last oil wells, and I put in, just for now, a little truck line with only one truck, so it'll pick up demand, and I can expand the number of trucks later, because I'll probably also need to expand the train line here to support it. Also need to find this one. Because this train 5 is going for the last load right now. This one is doing that. I'll put in ship service. Up oil here. Deliver at harbor. I'll probably need 2 of the Vandals to support that. So last load from Dallas West. And San Antonio has also run dry. So last load from San Antonio East. And Dallas South has also run dry, but that still has a lot in the station. So put one on the Beaumont and one on the Dallas Free line. And I have different size trains here, so I should upgrade those. So now I registered that I'm actually taking more from all 9 wells. So we have the first metal in-house. I also need to upgrade this shuttle service again. Wagons, more wagons. So now the 18. So last trip for Dallas South, and I'll put that on the Dallas East line instead, because it definitely can't cope with the amount of crude oil at the moment. That actually means instead I'll take this one and put on Dallas East, because it's closer. Take the other one here and put it on Beaumont. It will be about $1 million a year to run the Hiawatha. Yeah. I think there's so many wagons now that I actually can afford to put on the Hiawatha. It won't be able to do 160. It will be limited to 120 because of the wagons. But it won't do 120 either, but it will at least be paid for doing 120. But it does look pretty nice. Did get up to 70. It's still quite a bit better than the other one. What to do now? We have a bunch of money. We need to figure out a way to get a train line between Houston and New Orleans, because that's the thing that's coming up pretty soon. Actually, the solution would be, it seems to be two obvious ways into New Orleans, either across here or through this dip in between these two hills and around Hug the Edge, and then across back here. this route over here. Looks longer, but could be both flat and cheaper, so maybe that's a better choice. But actually that's so important that I want to save the game right now. Let's say mission 6. Just in case I frag something up.
Excellent! Fuel production is in full swing. The good old steam engine has had its day. Mighty diesel trains need to be moved. How foresighted of us to enter the fuel business. Time to convince the population of the benefits of modern trains. That's not going to be easy, however. The train isn't exactly the attractive option here right now. Anyone wanting to travel long distances takes the intercity bus. But we can change that. If we can offer a fast enough train service, we'll be able to encourage people to travel by train. Cha-ching!
I wonder how we did on the... thing, yeah, we've been running 400 a year for almost 15 years. We've done it for 13. So really close. So I actually should lay off putting in the train service because we don't want to finish the mission before we have done this import on metal. But I still need a bit of time to put in the tracks. But I should begin to be wary about the amount of money, the amount of cash I have, because I don't want to go over 75 million. So I also need to invest for various reasons, but some of it would be bridges and tunnels, which will better for this high-speed route. So I had 50 million, but investment in fast technology proves something else. Another thing is that I don't think the oil wells can run out anymore, because that quest has been disappeared from the list. So there's a chance that whatever wells are active now, these 5, will actually keep running for the rest of the game. And for now I'll just put a slower train on it. So what are the options for the fast train? Yeah. In the quest you said diesels. So I could put on the Pioneer Sapphire. 177. That's quite a good bet. Put on the Hiawatha, it's not a diesel, but it does 160. I put on the PRR1 GD1, which also does 160. And has a bit more power than the Hiawatha, and it's electric. For now I don't just want to make sure there's a bit of demand, so we'll put on the Atlantic. And then I'll change it into something really fast when I need to. I want the frequency to be less than 150, 180. So faster train and maybe 4 or 6 trains on the same route. That's what we're going for, but not right now. Just want to make sure I get this import of metal first. Should have the importer metal unlocked. Maybe it doesn't unlock until the end of the mission. Three, 6, 9, 12, 15 years, 16 years. And this one. Basically the same thing. I think I'm safe. I just need to make this train route really efficient. So this time around, I should be able to do 180. If that works, I'll need to put on another set of 2 trains. So that was getting it under 5 minutes. The frequency is under 320 now. I think I'll update it to only have 2 wagons, 2 coaches. Because there are not that many passengers anyway. It's 3,300 kilowatt. The problem of the Zephyr is it may look like a really fast train, and it does have a top speed of 177. But at only 448 kilowatts, it'll take the entire map to accelerate up to that. It's just not feasible. So these alcos, PAPP, they are the deal. With those Heavyweight powers on. 2 of them, yes. I'll get a little money back, but I need that to buy 2 more sets. And I need to make sure they're a bit spaced so they don't slow down. According to the route planner, the frequency is 100 under 180 seconds.
Finally, the crisis is over. The people have everything they need and even everything they don't need, and still they yearn for even more. This is really good for business.
And what did happen here? I didn't unlock the 6,000 goods. So that's because I was too efficient with the oil. Apparently you can only earn this one while you're still moving oil. That's a surprise to me. So I actually need to go back to my save game. Okay, so when I saved I only needed to export 300 fuel. So let's see if I can even salvage that part. I have a train here just unloaded. Unloaded 200, so if I stop this one, I should be able to hold it off long enough to get the goods. Yes, I'll stop it for 48.98 here. So if I unleash, if I send this train rolling again, then this export fuel quest will be locked down, which apparently will also lock down the ability to earn the importer metal. Three, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 14. So I need to wait a year and a half. That won't be good for the economy. But like, I guess I'll just need to spend the time working on this high-speed rail again. I always make a habit out of pausing the game while I'm building inside a town. Otherwise it might spawn new buildings that I need to doze while I'm building. That's not what I want. It's annoying to be forced to doze the same several times in a row. It's a little close, but it'll work. That'll work. 45. There it is, importer. So now we can set the fuel shuttle in motion here. And that's gone back and forth. We can complete this one. So let's see if we can afford the fast trains immediately. Just wait.
Excellent! Fuel production is in full swing. The good old steam engine has had its day. Mighty diesel trains need to be moved. How foresighted of us to enter the fuel business. Time to convince the population of the benefits of modern trains. That's not going to be easy, however. The train isn't exactly the attractive option here right now. Anyone wanting to travel long distances takes the intercity bus. But we can change that. If we can offer a fast enough train service, we'll be able to encourage people to travel by train. Cha-ching!
Okay, so I'll do like before and start out with 2 trains. Let's build up demand. And wait for the money to roll in to put in more. As soon as I have to put in the 4th train, we'll figure out what cost to upgrade all 4 of them will be. Hiawatha, Mexico.
Finally, the crisis is over. The people have everything they need and even everything they don't need, and still they yearn for even more. This is really good for business.
Yeah, okay, I didn't even need to run the 4th train. I didn't even need to put the alcoves. Yeah, busy bombers. We still have 8 years to go. Investment, we never got over 75 million because we really invested in the new track. Oil baron, we got all the oil wells. We got the train ride to go under 5 minutes, and we got 6,000 goods imported. Well, I used that. So actually, I did manage to not get all the medals because I was too efficient. Well, that's some of the odd things that can happen in this game. That's it for now. I'll return next week with the last of the US missions, and after that I'll dive into the European missions instead. But for now, see you around. Ta-da!